Hello, and welcome to the Physics at Night. I am so glad you're here. Whether you're lying down in bed with the lights dimmed low, slowly melting into your pillow, or curled on the couch, letting your mind float like a leaf on still water, this space is for you. Tonight, we begin something quietly astonishing. We are going to travel into the strangest, quietest, and most misunderstood places in the cosmos. We're going to talk about black holes, but not the chaotic monsters you see in movies. We're going to talk about the silence at the center of the drain. We're going to talk about a gravity so strong, it doesn't just pull on matter, it pulls on time itself. The story of the black hole isn't just about darkness. It is poetry folded into the laws of general relativity. It is about the comfort of a heavy blanket, and how, if you go deep enough into the universe, the frantic ticking of the clock actually stops. Now, I should gently warn you, this tale may soothe you so well you won't hear the end. But if it keeps your mind glowing a bit too long, I promise that even wakefulness can be restful when filled with wonder. If you find peace in this moment, I'd be grateful if you gave this video a quiet like, and maybe subscribe for more dreamy science. And if you're comfortable, I'd love to know where you're listening from and what time it is there. Your words light up a map of bedtime from around the world, a constellation of rest, as always. This story is for relaxation and gentle education only. It is not a substitute for medical advice or professional care, just a safe harbor to fall asleep with curiosity. Now, let's begin. Your day has been governed by time. You have watched the clock. You have met the deadlines. You have felt the seconds ticking away, linear, rigid, and demanding. It feels like time is a metal ruler that never bends. But what if I told you that rigidity is an illusion, a local trick of the light? While you lie there, apparently bound by the hour, the universe is playing a much softer game with time. Einstein taught us that time is not a ruler. Time is a river. It speeds up in the shallows, and it slows down in the deeps, and a black hole is the deepest part of the river. It sounds impossible, but feel it with me instead. Imagine you're walking down a hill. At the top, the wind is blowing fast, the air is thin, everything is rushing. But as you walk down into the valley, the wind stops, the air gets thick, the sounds of the world above become muffled and distant. That is exactly where we're going tonight. We're walking down the hill of gravity. We're moving away from the fast-ticking clock of the Earth and toward the slow, heavy timelessness of the event horizon. This isn't just astrophysics. It is a kind of cosmic permission to pause. It means that rushing is not the only option. It means that deep down, the universe wants you to stop. So take a deep breath, drop your shoulders, and let's explore the physics of the slow down. Before we can understand the heavy bending nature of time, we must first find a place where time is simple. To understand the noise of the clock, we must first find the silence. So let us leave the room. In your mind's eye, I want you to visualize the roof of your building becoming transparent. The ceiling dissolves. The beams and the plaster fade away like mist, and suddenly there is nothing above you but the open night sky. The air is cool, the stars are piercingly bright. You're lying in your bed, but you're also lying on the surface of a planet that is drifting through the dark. Now, let us lift off. Imagine your awareness rising up, weightless and free. You drift up past the rooftops. You drift up past the clouds. The lights of your city become a glowing web below you. tiny golden threads of traffic and electricity, slowly shrinking into the distance. You keep rising. The air gets thinner. The sounds of the earth, the cars, the wind, the ocean fade into a perfect silence. You pass the moon. It hangs there, a silent, dusty stone, watching the earth sleep. You pass the sun, burning quietly in the vacuum, a lighthouse with no keeper, and you keep going. Out past Mars, out past the rings of Saturn, out past the edge of the solar system. You are entering deep space. This is the interstellar medium. It is the space between the stars. It is very dark here, and it is very, very quiet. Down on Earth, space feels cluttered. We have buildings, we have people, we have atmosphere, we have friction. But out here, space is almost perfectly empty. There is perhaps one atom of hydrogen for every cubic centimetre of darkness. It is a vacuum so pure that sound cannot exist. There is no air to carry a vibration. There is no medium to carry a scream, or a song, or a tick of a clock. Just silence. Take a moment to feel the scale of this emptiness. If you were floating here, you would feel no wind. You would feel no temperature. You would feel no up and no down. You would simply be. This is the blank canvas of the universe. Before there was time, there was this. Before there was gravity, there was this. It is a sea of potential, a vast calm ocean of nothingness. And because there is so little here, there is very little resistance. If you were to gently push a marble out here, it would drift forever. It would travel for 1 billion years without slowing down, because nothing would touch it. Nothing would get in its way. This is the feeling I want you to hold on to tonight. The feeling of zero resistance. Your day-to-day was full of resistance. You had to push against traffic. You had to push against problems. You had to push against your own fatigue. But out here, in the deep black, the resistance is zero. You don't have to push. You don't have to steer. You're like that marble. You're simply drifting on the inertia of existence. And as we float, here, in this perfect quiet, we can begin to look at the stars differently. Usually, we see stars as points of light. We see them as decorations. But tonight, as we drift closer, we notice that the stars are not just sitting there. They are heavy. They are sinking into the dark. Imagine placing a heavy iron ball onto a soft mattress. It sinks. It creates a curve. The stars are doing that to the darkness. They are bending the emptiness around them, and somewhere, far off in the distance, far beyond the reach of our sun, there are places where the mattress curves so deep that it becomes a bottomless pit. There are places where the fabric of reality has been punctured by gravity. These are the black holes, the heavy anchors of the cosmos. We're going to travel toward one of them tonight, not to fall in, but to float near it. Because near those heavy objects, something magical happens to the rhythm of the universe. The silence gets deeper, the stillness gets absolute, and the river of time begins to freeze. But we're not there yet. For now, we're still in the open water. We're still in the calm between the worlds. Enjoy the float. There's no rush to get to the destination. The destination will wait for millions of years. So for the next few minutes, just drift. Feel the lack of friction. Feel the lack of weight. You are a traveller in the deep space, and you are perfectly, perfectly safe. We are still floating, deep in the silence. We have left the earth behind. We have left the noise of the city behind, and most importantly, we have left the clocks behind. Down there, on the surface of the planet, people are obsessed with measuring the moment. They have watches on their wrists. They have alarms on their phones. They have calendars on their walls. They chop reality into tiny, rigid slices, seconds, minutes, hours. They treat time like a tyrant. They treat it like a scarce resource that is constantly running out. But up here, in the quiet dark, those measurements have no meaning. A second is just a human word. A minute is just an invention. The universe does not have a wristwatch. So, if we take away the clock, what is left? What is this invisible river that we're all swimming in? To understand where we're going, we have to ask the most difficult question in all of physics. What exactly is time? It seems so simple. We feel it passing. We feel the difference between yesterday and tomorrow. We feel the difference between a memory and a dream. But when you try to hold time in your hands, it slips away like water. You cannot touch it. You cannot see it. You cannot put it in a jar. And yet, it is the most real thing there is. In the eyes of physics, time is not a thing that happens to you. Time is a place that you travel through. Think about the room you are lying in right now. It has 3 dimensions. It has length, width, and height. You can move left or right. You can move forward or backward. You can jump up or lie down. Those are the dimensions of space. But there is a 4th dimension, and that dimension is time. You're always moving through this 4th dimension, even now, even while you're lying perfectly still in your bed. You're traveling through time. You're moving from the past toward the future at a very specific speed. You're traveling at a rate of 1 second per second. You're a time traveler. You've been a time traveler since the moment you were born. We often wish we could stop time. We wish we could freeze a beautiful moment, or we wish we could speed up a boring day. But the engine of the universe only has 1 gear. It only moves forward. Physicists call this the arrow of time, and this arrow is the source of all our comfort. Imagine if time could flow backward. Imagine if the glass you broke this morning could suddenly reassemble itself. Imagine if the heat from your coffee could flow back into the mug. Imagine if the words you spoke could travel back into your mouth. The world would be chaotic. It would be unpredictable. You would never be able to rest, because you would never know what was going to happen next. But the arrow of time promises us stability. It promises us that the past is locked. It is safe. It cannot be changed. You do not need to worry about the past, because it is a book that has already been written. It is sitting on the shelf. And the future is open, but it arrives 1 gentle second at a time. This flow, this forward motion, is driven by something called entropy. Entropy is a fancy word for a very simple concept. Entropy is the tendency of the universe to relax. Think about a tight knot. It takes energy to tie a knot. It takes tension. It takes effort. But if you leave it alone, eventually, the fibers loosen. Eventually, the knot unravels. Think about a hot bath. The water starts out hot and steamy. It is full of energy. But if you wait, the heat spreads out into the room. The water cools down. It becomes calm. The universe loves to cool down. The universe loves to untie the knots. The universe loves to spread out and relax. That is what time is. Time is simply the measurement of the universe relaxing. The reason time moves forward is because the universe is constantly moving from a state of tension to a state of peace. And right now, in your bed, You're participating in that cosmic flow. Your day was a state of high tension. You were organized, you were focused, you were hot. But now, you're cooling down. You're letting the heat of your thoughts dissipate into the cool air of the room. You're letting the knot of your muscles unravel. You're following the arrow of time toward rest. It is a natural process. You don't have to force it. You don't have to try to sleep. You just have to let the entropy take over. Let the order of the day dissolve into the disorder of the dream. There is a profound relief in accepting that we are just passengers on this arrow. We spend so much of our lives trying to fight the current. We try to swim upstream. We try to manage time. We try to save time. We try to beat the clock, but you cannot beat the river. The river is ancient. The river is wide, and the river knows exactly where it is going. Tonight, I want you to stop swimming. I want you to pull your oars into the boat. I want you to lie back and look up at the sky and let the current carry you. Feel the sensation of the now. The now is the bow of your boat cutting through the water. It is the only part of time that you can touch. The past is the wake behind you, stretching out into the darkness. The future is the mist ahead of you, waiting to be revealed. But you are here, in the now, and in this now, there are no deadlines. In this now, there is no late. In this now, there is only the gentle rhythm of your own biology. Listen to your body. It has its own clock. It is not a digital clock. It doesn't have numbers. It is a fluid clock. It is the beating of your heart. Thump, 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 thump. It is the rising and falling of your chest. Inhale, exhale. These are the measurements of deep time. These are the rhythms that existed long before humans invented hours and minutes. Your body knows how to count the moments without using math. It counts them in breaths. It counts them in heartbeats. And as you sink deeper into relaxation, notice how your internal clock begins to slow down. The space between the heartbeats gets a little wider. The pause at the bottom of the exhale gets a little longer. You're synchronizing with the slow pulse of the cosmos. We often feel like time is slipping away from us. We feel a sense of loss when a day ends. We think, where did the time go? But time doesn't go anywhere. It is not lost. It is simply lived. Every second that passes is a second that you experienced. It is a second that passed through you. And tonight, you don't need to hoard the seconds. You have plenty of them. The universe has an infinite supply. You're floating in a limitless ocean of time. There is enough time to rest. There is enough time to heal. There is enough time to just be. So let the concept of the hour fade away. Let the concept of the schedule dissolve. You're no longer a person with an appointment. You're a coordinate in space-time. You're a conscious observer, drifting along the timeline, watching the stars go by. It is a smooth ride. There is no turbulence here, just the steady, quiet, forward motion of a universe that is slowly, beautifully unwinding. And as we drift further down this river, we are going to approach some places where the water behaves very differently. We're going to find places where the river bends, where it swirls, where it slows down so much that it almost stops. But for now, the water is calm, the current is gentle, and you're exactly where you're supposed to be, drifting, breathing, moving through time without lifting a finger. We have established that time is a river, and we've established that this river does not flow at the same speed everywhere. But now, we must ask the question, what controls the speed? What is the hand that reaches into the river and slows the current down? The answer is the most familiar feeling in your life. The answer is gravity. Gravity is the captain of time. We usually think of gravity as a pull. We think of it as the annoyance that makes things fall. It is the force that makes your heavy bag hard to carry. It is the force that makes you tired when you stand up for too long. But Einstein gave us a different way to see it, and this new way is much more beautiful. Einstein taught us that gravity is not a force that reaches out and grabs you. Gravity is simply the shape of the universe. Imagine a soft, comfortable mattress. If you place a heavy bowling ball in the center, the mattress curves, it dips down. It creates a gentle valley around the ball. Now, imagine you're a tiny marble rolling across that mattress. When you get near the valley, you curve toward the ball. You aren't being pulled by a magnet. You're just following the curve of the fabric. You're just rolling downhill. That is what gravity is. It is the curvature of reality, caused by heavy things. But here is the secret that most people don't know. Heavy things don't just curve space, they curve time. This is called gravitational time dilation. It is a heavy phrase, but the meaning is simple. The closer you are to a heavy object, the slower time moves. Think about the Earth, this massive sphere of rock and iron beneath your floor. It weighs 6 septillion kilograms. It is incredibly heavy. And because it is so heavy, it is creating a deep dent in the fabric of space-time. You are sitting at the bottom of that dent. You are deep in the well of the Earth's gravity, and because you are down here, time is moving slowly. If you were to climb to the top of Mount Everest, you would be further away from the center of the Earth. The gravity would be slightly weaker, the curve would be slightly flatter, and because of that, time would flow slightly faster. If you lived your entire life on the peak of a mountain, you would age faster than someone living at the beach. Your heart would beat more times. Your cells would divide more times. The clock on your wall would tick faster. It is a tiny difference, a fraction of a second over a lifetime, but it is real. Physics proves it. This means that down is the direction of youth. Down is the direction of preservation. Down is the direction of slow time. When you lie down in bed, you are lowering yourself. You're getting closer to the ground. You're aligning yourself with the strongest part of the gravity field. You're instinctively moving toward the place where time is slowest. We often talk about feeling heavy when we're tired. Your eyelids feel heavy. Your limbs feel heavy. Your head feels heavy on the pillow. We usually treat this heaviness as a symptom of exhaustion. But tonight, I want you to reframe it. Heaviness is not a symptom. Heaviness is a connection. When you feel heavy, you're feeling your connection to the earth. You're feeling the mechanism that is breaking the clock. Weight is the sensation of being held by the curvature of space-time. If you were floating in deep space, far away from any planet, you would be weightless. You would have no up and no down, and time would be rushing by at maximum speed. But you're not floating. You are anchored. You are held. The Earth is wrapping its gravity around you like a blanket. It is saying, I will slow the universe down for you. Think about the structure of a black hole for a moment. We will visit one properly later, but consider this. A black hole is just an object with infinite gravity. And because it has infinite gravity, it slows time down to zero. At the center of a black hole, the clock stops completely. It is the ultimate rest. The Earth is like a tiny, gentle baby black hole. It doesn't stop time, but it applies the brakes. It creates a time hill. To leave the Earth, you have to climb up the hill. You have to use rockets. You have to fight. You have to burn energy to get up to the place where time is fast. But to stay here, to stay in bed, that is effortless. That is just sitting at the bottom of the hill. The universe wants you to be down here. It takes zero energy to stay at the bottom of a gravity well. This is why sleep feels like falling. I am falling asleep. I am dropping off. You are surrendering to the curvature. You are letting the marble of your mind roll down toward the center. Feel the mattress pushing up against your back. That pressure is real. That is the Earth reminding you that you have mass. That is the Earth reminding you that you exist. Matter matters. You matter because you have a body, because you are made of atoms. You are subject to this law. You cannot escape it. And why would you want to? Gravity is the most patient force in the cosmos. Magnetism can be blocked. Electricity can be insulated. Light can be hidden. But gravity passes through walls. Gravity passes through the floor. It reaches up through the foundation of your building, through the frame of your bed, and it holds you. It never lets go. It never sleeps, so that you can. It is the ultimate safety net. If you roll out of bed, gravity catches you. It might feel like a fall, but physics sees it as a catch. It brings you back to the surface. It brings you back to the source of the slow time. So, as you lie there, visualize the gravity field of the room. Imagine it as a warm, thick amber. It fills the space from the floor to the ceiling, but it is thickest at the floor. You are submerged in it. You are soaking in the slow time fluid. Let your feet feel it. Let your hands feel it. Let the back of your head sink into it. Every time you exhale, imagine you are sinking a millimeter deeper into the curve, and every millimeter you sink, the clock slows down a tiny bit more. You're moving away from the frantic speed of the satellites. You're moving away from the rush of the mountain peak. You're moving toward the calm center. There is a peace in being heavy. There is a dignity in having weight. It means you are part of the planet. You're not just a visitor walking on the surface. You are a component of the Earth's mass. Together, you and the Earth are bending the universe. Together, you are creating a pocket of slow time in a fast-moving galaxy. So accept the weight. Do not try to be light tonight. Do not try to float away. Be a stone. Be a mountain. Be heavy. Because the heavier you are, the slower you go. And the slower you go, the closer you are to the silence. The hill is steep above you, but down here, in the valley of the bed, the ground is flat, and the time is soft. Rest in the gravity. Rest in the curve. You are held. We have talked about gravity. We have talked about the pull of the earth, and we have talked about the heaviness of your body. But now we must ask a deeper question. If the earth is heavy, and if you are heavy, what is holding us up? What is the stage upon which this entire cosmic play is happening? For thousands of years, humans believed that space was just a box. We thought of the universe as a rigid, empty container, like a dark room with hard walls. We thought that if you took away all the stars and all the planets and all the atoms, you would be left with a static, boring nothingness. We thought space was just the absence of stuff. But in 1915, Albert Einstein changed the world forever. He closed his eyes, just like you are doing now, and he imagined a different kind of universe. He realized that space is not nothing. Space is something. It is a material. It is a substance. It is a fabric, and it is not separate from time. They are woven together, thread by thread, into a single, continuous tapestry called space-time. Tonight, I want you to try to visualize this fabric, but I don't want you to think of it like a graph on a chalkboard. I want you to feel it. Imagine a vast, endless sheet of dark velvet. It stretches out in every direction. It has no edges. It has no seams. It is perfectly smooth and perfectly silent. This is the background of reality. This is the trampoline of the cosmos. Every star, every galaxy, every planet is resting on this sheet, and you are resting on it too. Einstein taught us that this fabric is incredibly stiff. It is not flimsy. It is not fragile. It is the strongest material in existence. It takes a tremendous amount of energy to bend it. It takes a whole sun to create a valley. It takes a whole earth to create a dip. This means that the universe is not chaotic or shaky. It is sturdy. It is stiff. It is reliable. When you lie in your bed, you are trusting the mattress to hold you. You trust the springs. You trust the wood frame. You trust that it won't collapse under your weight. Well, the Earth is trusting space-time. The Earth is heavy, 6 septillion kilograms of rock. But space-time holds it effortlessly. The fabric doesn't tear, the fabric doesn't break, it just gently curves, cradling the planet in a smooth, geometric hug. There is a famous phrase in physics: matter tells space how to curve, and space tells matter how to move. It is a conversation, a silent dance between the object and the fabric. And right now, in the quiet of your room, you are part of that conversation. Think about the interplay between space and time. They're the same thing. That is why we call it a continuum. If you pull on the thread of space, the thread of time moves with it. If you stretch space, you stretch time. This is why the universe feels so consistent. It is all one piece. There are no cracks in the universe. There are no holes where the laws of physics don't apply. From the bottom of the deepest ocean to the edge of the furthest galaxy, the fabric is continuous. It is unbroken. This smoothness is incredibly soothing to the mind. Our lives are often full of jagged edges. We have interruptions, we have surprises, we have broken plans, but the space-time continuum has no jagged edges. It is a landscape of rolling hills and smooth valleys. In mathematics, this is called a manifold. A manifold is a shape that looks flat when you zoom in close, but curves gently when you zoom out. You're living on a manifold. When you move through your day, you think you're moving in straight lines. You drive down the street. You walk down the hall. But in reality, you're following the gentle curves of the universe. You're sliding along the geometry of gravity. There is a concept in relativity called the geodesic. A geodesic is the straightest possible line across a curved surface. If you are flying a plane from New York to London, you don't fly in a straight line on the map. You fly in a curve. You follow the curve of the Earth. That is the most efficient path. That is the path of least resistance. Sleep is your geodesic. Sleep is the path of least resistance through the night. It is the natural curve that your body wants to follow. When you fight sleep, when you try to stay awake, you're trying to force a straight line through a curved universe. You're fighting the geometry. But when you let go, when you close your eyes, you're finding the groove. You're aligning yourself with the fabric. You're letting the trampoline of space-time guide you to the center of the rest. Think about the stars again. Picture the sun sitting on that rubber sheet. It sits heavy and low, and the Earth rolls around the rim of the bowl. It doesn't need an engine to keep orbiting. It doesn't need fuel. It is just rolling along the curve. It is coasting. That is what you are doing now. You are coasting. You are a satellite of the night. You are orbiting the concept of sleep. You don't need to push. The geometry is doing the work for you. And remember, this fabric is everywhere. It is not just out there in space. It is in here. Space-time is inside your room. It is inside your chest. It is between the atoms of your body. You're made of matter, but you're permeated by the fabric. This means you are never truly alone. You are woven into the tapestry. You are connected, physically connected to everything else that sits on the fabric. The dip that you are making in the mattress is connected to the dip that the earth is making, which is connected to the dip that the sun is making. It is all one sheet. If you were to tap the fabric with your finger, the ripple would travel out forever. A tiny gravitational wave moving at the speed of light out into the void. You are part of the web, so feel the support. We often worry that the bottom is going to fall out. We worry that our stability is temporary, but space-time has been holding up the universe for 13.8 billion years. It hasn't dropped a single star. It hasn't lost a single atom. It is strong enough to hold your worries. It is strong enough to hold your history. It is strong enough to hold your dreams. You can put your full weight on it. Don't hold yourself up. Don't tense your muscles trying to hover above the bed. Collapse. Sink. Trust the fabric. The grid lines are beneath you, invisible but unbreakable. They are catching you. They are cradling you. You are resting on the curvature of a masterpiece, a design so perfect that it doesn't need maintenance. It just is. Let the geometry hold you. Let the manifold smooth out your thoughts. The universe is soft. The universe is curved, and you are safe in the fold. We have reached a quiet point in our journey. We are resting on the fabric of space-time. We are feeling the gentle curve of the earth beneath us, and we have accepted the strange truth that down here, near the heavy ground, time moves slower than it does in the sky. But the mind, even a sleepy mind, is a curious thing. It asks, why? Why does a curve in space mean a slowing of time? Why does a heavy rock change the speed of a clock? It seems like magic. It seems like a rule that was made up just to confuse us, but it is not magic, it is geometry. And to understand it, we only need to look at one thing. We need to look at the only thing in the universe that is truly, perfectly constant. We need to look at light. In our daily lives, everything has a variable speed. A car can go fast or slow, the wind can breeze or howl, even sound changes speed depending on the air pressure. But light is different. Light has a speed limit, and it is a strict limit. Light travels at exactly 299,792,458 meters per second. Always, everywhere. It doesn't matter if the light is coming from a flashlight or a star. It doesn't matter if you're running toward the light or running away from it. The light will always pass you at the exact same speed. This is the anchor of the universe. It is the one rule that cannot be broken. Einstein realized that if the speed of light is fixed, then everything else must be flexible. If the speed cannot change, then space and time must change to accommodate it. Let me show you how this works. And don't worry, we're not going to do math. We're going to do a visualization. I want you to imagine a very simple clock. But this is not a clock with gears. It is a light clock. Imagine two perfect mirrors floating in the darkness. One is on the floor, one is on the ceiling. They are facing each other. Now, imagine a single, tiny particle of light, a photon. This photon is bouncing between the mirrors. Ping, it hits the floor. Pong, it hits the ceiling. Ping, floor. Pong, ceiling. Up and down, up and down. It is a perfect metronome. Every time the photon hits the floor, that is one tick of the clock. Tick, tick, tick. Now, imagine this clock is floating in deep space, far away from gravity. The space is flat. The path is straight. The photon travels in a perfect short vertical line. It is efficient. It is fast. Tick, 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 tick. But now, let's bring this clock down to Earth. Let's bring it into your room. Let's place it near the heavy gravity of the planet. We know from the last chapter that gravity curves space. It bends the fabric. So, what happens to our photon? It still wants to go from the floor mirror to the ceiling mirror. But the space between them is no longer flat. The space is curved. The photon has to travel along the curve. It has to dip down into the gravity well and climb back out. It is like walking on a path that suddenly has a dip in it. To get to the other side, you have to walk down into the dip and back up. Your path has become longer. The distance the light has to travel on has increased. Now, here is the catch. Here is the magic trick. Remember the rule? The speed of light cannot change. The photon cannot speed up to make up for the longer distance. It is not allowed to run faster. It is stuck at its constant speed. So, we have a problem. We have a longer distance to cover, but we have the same speed. So what has to happen? It simply takes longer to get there. The tick takes longer to happen. In deep space, the tick was fast, up, down. But here on Earth, with the curved path, the tick is slow. Oop. Doon. The photon is taking the scenic route. It is travelling the curve of gravity. And because it is taking the scenic route, the second becomes longer. This is why time slows down near massive objects, because gravity stretches the path that light must take. And because light is the ruler by which we measure reality, reality itself gets stretched. Think about how comforting that is. We often think of slowness as a defect. We think of it as laziness. We think of it as a failure to be efficient. But in the eyes of the universe, slowness is just the result of a deeper journey. The light is not being lazy. The light is just travelling through a richer landscape. It is travelling through the heavy, curved, beautiful landscape of gravity. When you are tired, when you feel like your brain is slow, when you feel like you can't keep up with the speed of the world, just remember the light clock. You are entering a high gravity phase. You're entering the curve of sleep. The distance between your thoughts is getting longer. The path from one idea to the next is curving. And that is okay. You don't need to speed up. You cannot speed up. The physics of your body won't allow it. You are simply taking the longer path, the gentler path. The universe is stretching the moment for you. It is taking a single second and pulling it like taffy until it is long enough for you to rest inside it. This connects back to something very profound about existence. It is called the principle of least action. The universe is incredibly efficient, but it defines efficiency in a strange way. Light always takes the path that requires the least amount of effort to traverse the geometry of space. Sometimes, the path of least effort is a straight line, but sometimes, when gravity is involved, the path of least effort is a curve. Tonight, sleep is your path of least effort. You could try to stay awake. You could try to force your mind to go in a straight line. You could try to problem solve, but that would require fighting the geometry. That would be like trying to run in a straight line across a valley. You would have to float. You would have to burn energy. But if you just follow the curve, if you just let yourself roll down the hill, it is effortless. You're following the natural shape of the night. So, visualize the light inside you slowing down. The electrical signals in your brain are just like those photons. They are bouncing between the neurons. Ping, pong. But as you sink into the mattress, the gravity of sleep takes over. The path between the neurons gets curved. The signals take longer to travel. The thoughts become slow. The images become dreamy. The logic becomes soft. Tick, tick, tick. You are shifting gears. You are moving from the fast, straight time of the day to the slow, curved time of the night. And the universe approves of this. The universe designed this mechanism. It built heavy planets so that there would be places where time could rest. It built stars so that there would be places where time could stretch, and it built black holes so that there would be places where time could stop. You are not a black hole yet, but you are practicing. You're rehearsing the physics of the stop. So let the photon take the long way. Let the light take the detour. You're in no rush to get to the next second. The next second will arrive eventually, but for now, enjoy the space between the ticks. That space is where you live. That space is where you sleep. It is the wide, open, curved silence of the present moment. The mirrors are far apart. The path is long, and the journey is smooth. We've spent the last hour resting in the gentle gravity of Earth. We have felt the mattress pushing up against us. We have felt the soft, rhythmic slowing of time that happens at the bottom of a planetary atmosphere. But now, in our imagination, we're going to leave the cradle. We're going to drift away from the blue marble. We're going to float out, past the moon, past the sun, and into the deep velvet dark of the galaxy. We're looking for something heavier. We're looking for the deep end of the pool, and ahead of us, in the center of a swirling cloud of dust, we see it, the black hole. Now, when humans think of black holes, they usually feel fear. They think of cosmic monsters. They think of vacuum cleaners that roam the universe, devouring stars and erasing history. They think of them as holes in the floor of reality where things get lost forever. But tonight, I want you to see the black hole differently. I want you to see it through the eyes of a physicist. To a physicist, a black hole is not a monster. It is simply a concentration. It is a place where the universe has become incredibly focused. Imagine a star. A star is a massive burning cloud of gas. It is huge. It is chaotic. It is loud. But when a star dies, sometimes it collapses. It stops burning. It stops pushing out against the dark, and it begins to fall inward. It shrinks. It gets smaller and smaller and smaller. All the iron, all the carbon, all the heavy elements that made up that star get squeezed together. The space between the atoms disappears. The atoms themselves get crushed. It shrinks until all that mass, millions of times the weight of our Earth, is packed into a tiny, silent point. This is what a black hole is. It is not emptiness. It is the opposite of emptiness. It is the densest object in existence. It is a place where matter has decided to hold on to itself so tightly that nothing can tear it apart. Think about the feeling of a weighted blanket. You know that feeling of pressure, that feeling of being held down. It feels safe because it feels like you are contained. It feels like your edges are being defined. A black hole is the ultimate weighted blanket. It is a region of space where gravity is so strong. It holds the universe together. Without black holes, our galaxy would fly apart. There is a supermassive black hole at the centre of the Milky Way. It is the anchor. It is the heavy stone at the centre of the spinning wheel. It is holding the sun and the Earth and you in our orbit. So, as we float near this object, do not feel fear. Feel respect. Feel the immense, silent authority of gravity. Let's talk about the shape of this gravity. Back on Earth, the mattress of space-time was curved gently. It was like a soft dip. But here, the mattress has been pinched. Imagine taking a rubber sheet, grabbing the centre, and pulling it down, 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 until it stretches into a deep vertical funnel. That is the gravity well of a black hole. The walls of this funnel are steep. The pull is intense. If you were falling into this well, you would feel the universe grabbing you. But tonight, we're not falling in. We're just hovering near the edge. We're observing the gradient. The gradient is the change in gravity. Far away, the water is calm, but as you get closer, the current picks up speed. Space itself is flowing toward the hole. Einstein taught us that space is like a fluid, and near a black hole, space is like a waterfall. It is cascading over the edge, falling toward the centre, faster and faster. But you're hovering just above the falls. You're watching the water rush by. Think about the power of that flow. It is a flow that nothing can resist. Light cannot swim upstream against it. Radio waves cannot swim upstream. Even time cannot swim upstream. Everything is surrendering to the centre. And there is a strange peace in that surrender. We spend so much of our lives resisting. We resist change. We resist aging. We resist silence. But here, resistance is mathematically impossible. Here, the only option is to let go. The gravity of the black hole is the ultimate permission to stop fighting. It says, I am stronger than you. You can rest now. I will take over. Imagine the heaviness of this place. On Earth, you weigh a certain amount. If you stood on Jupiter, you would weigh twice as much. If you stood on the Sun, you would be crushed instantly. But here, the concept of weight becomes infinite. Here, you would become part of the structure of space-time itself. You would be anchored so firmly that you would never move again. This is the concept of the singularity, the point at the very centre, the period at the end of the sentence. We don't know exactly what happens at the singularity. Our math breaks down. Our equations give us infinity, but poetically, we can imagine it as the ultimate stopping point, the place where all the motion of the universe comes to rest. All the comets that ever flew, all the light beams that ever flashed, all the stars that ever burned, if they fall in here, they stop moving. They become one thing. They become the one. It is a place of absolute unity. No more separation. No more this versus that. Just mass, just gravity, just silence. It is the quietest place in the cosmos. Think about the noise of the universe. Stars are loud. They roar with fusion explosions. Planets are loud. They have storms and winds and oceans. But a black hole? It makes no sound. It reflects no light. It gives off no heat. It is a perfect black sphere, a void in the visual field, a quiet patch in the chaos as you lie in your bed. Imagine that you are creating your own little gravity well. Your room is dark, your eyes are closed. You're blocking out the light. You're blocking out the sound. You're becoming a tiny black hole of consciousness. You're pulling your attention inward. Usually, your attention flows outward. It flows to the phone, to the TV, to the worries of tomorrow. But now, the gravity is reversing. The attention is falling back into the center. It is falling back into the body. You're becoming dense. You're becoming heavy. You're becoming centered. Feel the pull of your own sleep. It is a strong force, isn't it? It is pulling at your eyelids. It is pulling at your muscles. It is pulling your thoughts down into the dark. Do not fight the gravity of sleep. It is a natural force. It is the event horizon of your day. Once you cross it, once you fall asleep, the world outside cannot reach you. The problems cannot signal you. The noise cannot find you. You are unreachable. That is the safety of the black hole. It is the ultimate hiding place. It is a fortress of solitude inside the gravity well of sleep. You're protected by the laws of physics. You're shielded by the curvature of your own rest. So, look at the dark sphere in your mind. See it not as a destroyer, but as a keeper. It keeps the secrets. It keeps the peace. It is holding the galaxy together. And tonight, it is holding you together. The funnel is deep, the walls are steep, and the bottom is soft. Let yourself sink a little closer to it. Feel the tidal forces of relaxation. Tidal forces usually rip things apart. But here, they are just gently stretching you out. They are stretching out the tension in your shoulders. They are stretching out the knot in your stomach. They are unspooling the tight coil of your anxiety. You are being spaghettified, but in the best way possible. You're becoming long and loose and fluid. You're no longer a solid, tense object. You're a stream of atoms flowing toward the center of the night. The gravity is doing the work. The mass is doing the work. You are just the falling stone. You're just the drifting dust, heavier and heavier and heavier, until there is no difference between you and the dark. Rest in the weight. Rest in the anchor. We have travelled deep into the gravity well. We have felt the heavy, comforting pull of the dark star. And now, we are floating just above the surface of the ultimate mystery. Directly ahead of us is the event horizon. It is the most famous line in physics. But it is not a physical line. There is no keep out sign. There is no wall. There is no barrier made of rock or ice. The event horizon is simply a shadow. It is the point where the gravity becomes so strong that not even light can escape. It is the point where the downward flow of space becomes faster than the speed of light. Imagine a river that is flowing toward a waterfall. As you get closer to the edge, the water speeds up. If you are a fish swimming upstream, you can fight the current for a while, but eventually, you reach a point where the water is moving faster than you can swim. If you cross that line, you are going over. No matter how hard you swim, you are going down. That line is the event horizon. To a physicist, this sounds dramatic. It sounds like a trap. But to a tired mind, to a mind that is looking for rest, this is a beautiful concept. Think about what the point of no return actually means. We usually fear it. We want to keep our options open. We want to be able to turn back. We want to control the outcome. But the event horizon offers something else. It offers the end of decision-making. Once you cross that line, you don't have to choose anymore. You don't have to steer. You don't have to struggle. The struggle is physically impossible, so the struggle ends. There is a profound peace in the inevitable. When you know you cannot turn back, you can finally stop looking over your shoulder. You can finally face the dark and let go. Let's hover here for a moment, just a few inches above the black. What do we see? We see the photon sphere. Because gravity is so strong here, light itself can orbit the black hole. If you were floating here and you turned your head sideways, you might see the back of your own head. The light reflecting off your hair would travel around the black hole in a perfect circle and come back to your eyes. You're seeing your own history. You're seeing the past, caught in a loop. But if you look down into the hole, you see nothing. Absolute, perfect blackness. It is the only place in the universe where there is zero information. Everywhere else in the cosmos, you're bombarded by data. Stars are shining. Radio waves are pulsing. The internet is buzzing. Your phone is notifying. The universe is a noisy place. It is full of signals screaming for your attention, but the event horizon is a silence machine. It is a cosmic mute button. Any signal that falls in is silenced forever, and no signal can ever come out. This means that if you were to slip below the surface, the noise of the universe would instantly vanish. You would be cut off from the chaos. You would be disconnected from the timeline of the galaxy. We often talk about unplugging to get some rest. We turn off the Wi-Fi, we put the phone in the other room, but a black hole is the ultimate unplug. It disconnects you from the causality of the universe. It is the only place where the rest of the world truly, physically, stops existing for you. And tonight, your sleep is your event horizon. Think about the moment you drift off. There is a specific second, a specific heartbeat, where you cross the line. One moment, you are in the room, you hear the traffic, you feel the sheets, you're thinking about tomorrow, and then, slip, you cross the horizon, and suddenly, the room is gone, the traffic is gone, the worry is gone, the you that manages the world is gone. You have fallen into the singularity of the dream. You cannot come back from that moment until the morning. You've crossed the point of no return for the night, and that is a good thing. It means you are safe from the waking world. It means the waking world cannot call you back until the orbit is complete. So, look at the darkness in your mind. It is not empty space. It is an event horizon. Behind your closed eyelids, the gravity is too strong for light to enter. Behind your closed eyelids, the gravity is too strong for sound to enter. You are building a wall of silence around your consciousness. Now, let's talk about time at the edge. This is the most magical part of the physics. If I were watching you fall toward the horizon, and I was staying safe far away, I would see something incredible. As you got closer to the black hole, I would see you slow down. Your movements would become sluggish. Your wave would take minutes to complete. Your blink would take hours. And as you reach the very edge, just a millimeter above the darkness, I would see you stop. To me, the outside observer, you would never cross the line. You would become frozen in time, like a photograph, like a statue of a sleeper, suspended forever on the brink of the deep. The light coming from your body would get redder and dimmer and slower. You would fade into a deep, deep red ghost, and there you would stay, frozen, timeless, eternal. From your perspective, you would just slip right through. You wouldn't feel the freeze, you would just drift into the peace. But to the universe, You have become a monument. Think about that duality. From the outside, you are frozen. From the inside, you are free. This is exactly what sleep looks like. If someone were to walk into your room right now and look at you, what would they see? They would see a statue. They would see a person who has stopped moving. They would see a person frozen in time. To the outside world, you have paused. You're not producing, you're not working, you're not changing. But from the inside the dream, you are flying, you are traveling. You're experiencing a whole new physics. The event horizon separates these two worlds. It separates the frozen you on the bed from the traveling you in the dream. It is the membrane between the public world and the private world. And right now, you're touching that membrane. You're brushing against the surface of the black hole. Can you feel the time dilation happening? The thoughts are getting slower. The logic is getting stretchy. Things that mattered 5 minutes ago seem very far away. Things that were urgent seem blurry. That is the redshift. Your worries are being redshifted into silence. They are losing their energy. They are fading into the infrared. You are approaching the edge. Don't be afraid of the drop. The drop is just a transition. It is just a phase change, like water turning into ice, like day turning into night. The event horizon is the door to the basement of the universe. It is where the universe keeps its deepest secrets. It is where it keeps the absolute rest. So, lean forward. Let the gravity take your hand. Let the heavy down feeling pull you toward the line. The waterfall of space is rushing past you. It is smooth. It is dark. It is quiet. It is washing away the day. It is washing away the noise. You don't need to hold on to the branch anymore. You don't need to swim. Just let the current take you over the edge, into the dark, into the slow, into the timeless. You are crossing the horizon, and on the other side, everything is still. We have spent a long time looking down. We have stared into the abyss of the event horizon. We have felt the pull of the silence. But now, just for a moment, I want you to turn around. I want you to imagine that you are floating safely in your orbit, suspended in the heavy gravity, and you are looking back the way we came. You're looking back toward the Earth. You're looking back toward the open galaxy, and what you see is breathtaking, because time is moving so slowly where you are. The rest of the universe appears to be moving incredibly fast. This is the other side of the coin of relativity. If your clock is slow, the rest of the world's clock is fast. From your vantage point, deep in the gravity well, you're watching the universe in fast forward. Look at the stars in the distance. Usually they look like static points of light. But from here, you can see them dancing. You can see them moving across the sky like fireflies. You see them circling the center of the galaxy, not in millions of years, but in minutes. The great spiral arms of the Milky Way are spinning like a pinwheel, a blur of light, a carousel of creation. You are watching deep time unfold in the blink of an eye and look back toward the Earth. From this distance, and through this lens of distorted time, you cannot see the details, but you can sense the speed. Civilizations are rising and falling. Seasons are flashing by like strobe lights. Winter, spring, summer, fall. Winter, spring, summer, fall. The ice caps grow and shrink like a breathing lung. The continents drift slowly across the oceans, bumping into each other, merging and separating. It is chaotic. It is frantic. It is a storm of motion. And yet, You are not part of it. You are behind the glass. You are protected by the physics of your location. Think about the feeling of watching a storm from inside a warm house. You see the rain lashing against the window. You see the trees bending in the wind. You see the chaos, but you do not feel the wind. You do not get wet. You're in a different atmosphere. That is what you are experiencing right now. You're in the slow zone, and the frantic world is the fast zone. There's a profound relief in this separation. We often feel like we have to keep up with the world. We feel like we have to run at the same speed as the economy, the same speed as the news cycle, the same speed as our friends. But physics tells us that is impossible. You're not in the same reference frame as them. You're here, anchored, heavy, slow. Let them spin. Let the world rush. Let the emails fly around the planet at the speed of light. Let the markets rise and fall. They are moving so fast that they cannot touch you. They're just a blur on the horizon, a distant hum. You're the ancient one in this scenario. In the story of the universe, the one who sits near the black hole is the one who endures, while 1,000 generations pass out there. Only a single breath passes for you. You're aging slower than the stars. You're preserving your energy. You're preserving your moment. This is the joy of missing out. The joy of missing out, Jomo, is a powerful force for sleep. We're often afraid that if we close our eyes, we will miss something. We check our phones one last time. We scroll one last time because we want to stay synchronized. But looking at the universe from here, you realize that synchronization is a trap. Why would you want to be synchronized with chaos? Why would you want to be synchronized with the storm? It is better to be out of sync. It is better to be lagging. In the gaming world, lag is a bad thing. But in the sleep world, lag is the goal. You want to be lagging behind reality. You want your processing speed to drop. So, watch the fast universe spin. It is beautiful, in a way. It is like watching a time-lapse video of a city at night. The cars are just streaks of red and white light. The people are just ghosts. The noise is just a continuous drone. It is pretty, but it is not real. Not to you, not right now. To you. Reality is the stillness. To you. Reality is the heavy blanket of gravity. To you. Reality is the slow beat of your own heart. Thump, thump. Notice how much space there is between those beats compared to the spinning world outside. You are living in the space between. There is a concept in relativity called time dilation factor. It is a number that tells you how much time is slowing down. Right now, your factor is high. You are stretching the moment until it is thin and transparent. Imagine that there is a wall between you and the fast world. A wall made of gravity. It is thick, it is transparent, but it is impenetrable. The noise of the fast world hits that wall and bounces off. The stress of the fast world hits that wall and dissolves. Nothing can cross the gradient unless it slows down. Nothing can enter your space unless it agrees to your terms, and your terms are slow. If a thought wants to enter your mind right now, it has to slow down. If a worry wants to enter your mind, it has to freeze. You are the gatekeeper, and you have closed the gate, so simply watch. Be the observer. Be the astronomer. You're watching the history of the universe play out on a screen, but you are not in the movie. You are in the audience, and the theatre is dark, and the chair is comfortable, and the movie is endless. It will keep playing whether you watch it or not. The stars will keep burning. The planets will keep turning. The world will keep rushing. You don't need to supervise it. It runs on automatic. Gravity has it handled. Entropy has it handled. You can close your eyes, and the movie will be there when you wake up. You won't miss anything important. Because the important things, the heavy things, the slow things, are right here with you. The important thing is your breath. The important thing is the warmth of the bed. The important thing is the feeling of safety. Let the galaxy spin itself out. Let the stars burn through their fuel. Let the comets race through the dark. You are the stone at the bottom of the river. The water rushes over you, fast, cold, loud. But the stone does not move. The stone does not rush. The stone stays. Be the stone. Stay in the deep. Stay in the slow. The view from here is beautiful, but the feeling of closing your eyes is even better. Turn away from the window. Turn away from the fast universe. Turn back toward the center. Back toward the shadow. Back toward the quiet. You are safe from the speed. You are safe from the time. Drift in the lag. We have watched from the edge. We have seen the universe spinning in the distance. We have felt the heavy, anchoring tug of the gravity well. But now, it is time to let go. It is time to stop hovering. It is time to unclip the safety line. It is time to turn off the engines and give ourselves over to the pull. We're going to fall, now, purely out of instinct. The word fall might make your body tense up. We're wired to fear falling. Our biology tells us that falling leads to an impact. It tells us that falling is dangerous. But in the strange physics of deep space, falling is something very different. Falling is not a crash. Falling is floating. There is a story about Albert Einstein. One day, while he was sitting in his office in Bern, looking out the window, he had a sudden realization. He imagined a man falling off the side of a building, and he realized something profound. He realized that while the man was falling, he would not feel his own weight. If he dropped a set of keys, the keys would float right next to him. If he spilled a cup of water, the water would hover in globules around his face. For the person falling, gravity seems to disappear. Einstein called this the happiest thought of my life. It was the seed that grew into the theory of relativity. And tonight, I want you to feel that same happiness. When you are fighting gravity, you feel heavy. When you are standing up, your feet hurt because you are resisting the earth. When you are sitting in a chair, your back gets tired because you are holding yourself up. But if you were to fall freely, perfectly, the weight would vanish, the pressure would vanish, the pain would vanish. So, in your mind, let's begin the descent. Imagine you are pushing off from the safe platform. You are drifting out into the dark, toward the center of the event horizon. The moment you let go, the sensation of heaviness disappears. You are no longer on top of anything. You're no longer being pressed down. You are simply drifting. It feels exactly like floating in a sensory deprivation tank, or floating in the dead center of a warm ocean. You're suspended, but you are moving. Oh, you are moving. Gravity has taken hold of you. But it is not grabbing you roughly. It is grabbing every single atom of your body at the exact same time. It is pulling your skin and your bones and your blood and your heart with perfect equality, because every part of you is being pulled together. You don't feel the pull at all. You just feel light. This is the paradox of the black hole. It is the heaviest place in the universe, but falling into it is the lightest you will ever feel. You're surrendering to the geometry. You're sliding down the funnel. Watch the view as you fall. Below you, the black circle is getting bigger. It is growing. It is eating the sky. It is a perfect sphere of absolute nothingness. It has no surface features, no mountains, no valleys, no storms, just a smooth, matte void. But around the edges of the black hole, there is a ring of light. This is called the Einstein ring. It is the light from stars that are behind the black hole. The gravity is bending that light around the sphere, creating a perfect halo, a crown of starlight. As you fall closer, that halo gets brighter, it gets wider, it shifts colours, moving from white to yellow to red. It is the last light you will see, the last signal from the outside world. It is beautiful. It is hypnotic. It is like watching a sunset, right before the sun dips below the ocean. And as you fall, listen to the silence. Behind you, the universe is moving away. And because you are falling away from the universe, the sound waves, if there were any, and the light waves, are getting stretched out. This is the Doppler effect. Like the sound of an ambulance siren lowering in pitch as it drives away. The energy of the universe is lowering in pitch. It is getting deeper. It is getting quieter. It is fading into a low, rhythmic thrum. You are leaving the noisy party. You are walking out the door and into the quiet, snowy night. The music is muffled. The voices are distant, and soon they will be gone completely. Feel the speed increasing, but remember, in space, you cannot feel speed. You only feel acceleration if you're being pushed. But nobody is pushing you, you are being pulled. So the ride is smooth, it is glass smooth. You're accelerating to 1,000 miles per hour, 10,000. 100,000, 1,000,000. You're approaching the speed of light. But inside your body, stillness, perfect equilibrium. You're a passenger on the fastest train in existence, but the tracks are made of velvet. Now, let's talk about the stretching. As you get closer to the horizon, the gravity at your feet becomes slightly stronger than the gravity at your head. Because your feet are closer to the centre. In a violent black hole, this would be dangerous. But in a supermassive black hole, like the one we are visiting, this force is gentle. It is subtle. It is called tidal force. And right now, it feels like a massage. Feel the gravity gently pulling at your ankles. Feel it pulling at your knees. Feel it pulling at your hips. It is creating space in your joints. It is decompressing your spine. You know that feeling when you first wake up, and you stretch your arms over your head, and you point your toes, and you elongate your whole body. That is what the black hole is doing to you. It is stretching you out. It is untying the knots in your muscles. It is taking the tightness of the day and pulling it into a long, thin, relaxed line. You're becoming taller. You're becoming looser. You're becoming fluid. Let the gravity do it. Don't resist the stretch. Lean into it. Imagine your spine lengthening, vertebrae by vertebrae. Pop, pop, pop. The tension is being released. The pressure is being sucked out of your body and into the void. You're no longer a solid, rigid object. You're a stream of consciousness. You're a river of rest, flowing downhill. Falling is usually scary because we're afraid of hitting the bottom. We're afraid of the sudden stop. But here, there is no bottom. A black hole is a bottomless pit. You can fall forever. There is no ground to hit. There is no thud waiting for you. There is only the fall, the endless, eternal, peaceful fall. So you don't need to brace for impact. You don't need to tense your muscles to protect yourself. There is nothing to collide with. You can stay in this state of free fall for as long as you want. Tonight, your bed is the capsule, and your dreams are the void. You're falling asleep. Think about that phrase again. Falling asleep. We use that word for a reason. Sleep is a surrender of altitude. It is a surrender of control. You're letting go of the cliff edge of consciousness and dropping into the deep. And just like the astronaut in the black hole, the moment you let go is the moment you feel the relief. The moment you stop trying to stay up is the moment the weight vanishes. So fall. Fall through the mattress. Fall through the floor. Fall through the foundation of the building. Fall through the crust of the earth. Keep going. Down toward the center. Down toward the quiet. The darkness is wrapping around you now. The Einstein ring is fading above you. The last star has blinked out. You are wrapped in a cocoon of absolute shadow. It is warm. It is thick. It is protective. You are floating in the womb of the universe. Before there was light, there was this. Before there was noise, there was this. You have returned to the factory settings of existence. Zero weight, zero light, zero worry. Just the smooth, endless, silent sensation of going down. Drift deeper. The gravity is holding you. The physics are guiding you, and you are perfectly safe in the fall. We are now deep in the quiet zone. We have fallen past the edge of the world. We have left the frantic, spinning galaxy far above us, and we are floating in the velvet darkness of the deep gravity well. But there is a question that lingers in the drowsy mind. A question that touches the very nature of consciousness. If physics says that time is slowing down, why does it feel so normal? When you watch a movie in slow motion, the voice sounds deep and groggy. The movements look strange. The world looks distorted. But here, inside the gravity of sleep, everything feels crystal clear. It feels precise. It feels correct. Why? The answer lies in a relationship between your mind and the moment. To understand this, we have to look at how humans perceive time in the first place. You do not have a clock in your brain. You do not have a quartz crystal ticking away inside your skull. Instead, you have a frame rate. Just like a movie camera captures reality in a series of still images, 24 frames per second, your brain captures reality in moments of consciousness. You take a snapshot of the world, then you process it, then you take another snapshot, when you are awake, when you are stressed, when you're in survival mode. Your frame rate is incredibly high. You're taking hundreds of snapshots every second. You're noticing the car horn. You're noticing the email notification. You're noticing the cold breeze. You're noticing the itch on your arm. Your brain is devouring the present moment frantically. It is sampling reality at high speed, and because you're taking so many snapshots, the world feels fast. It feels overwhelming. There is too much data rushing into the system. But now, look at what happens when you enter the gravity of sleep, as you sink deeper into the mattress, as you enter the black hole of the night. Your metabolism slows down. Your heart rate drops. Your body temperature drops. And most importantly, the electrical firing of your brain begins to slow down. You shift from beta waves, the fast, anxious buzz of the day, down to alpha waves, the calm, lucid flow of relaxation, and then down to theta waves, the slow, rolling ocean of the dream. You are physically lowering your frame rate. You're taking fewer snapshots of the universe. You're sampling reality less often, And this is the secret of the time dilation of sleep. When your internal clock slows down, the external world seems to blur and fade away. The gaps between the snapshots get wider. The silence between the thoughts gets longer. In physics, this is called proper time. Proper time is the time measured by a clock that is carried with you. Right now, your proper time is stretching out. Think about how comforting that is. You're not missing out on reality. You're simply choosing to observe less of it. You're becoming a low-resolution observer. During the day, you were high definition. You were 4K. You were sharp. But that requires so much energy. That requires so much heat. Now, you're switching to power-saving mode. You're dropping the resolution. You're ignoring the details, the sound of the wind outside. You don't need to process it. The pattern of the shadows on the wall. You don't need to analyze it. The worry about tomorrow's meeting. You don't need to compute it. You're letting the data stream pass you by. This is exactly what happens near a black hole. Because the gravity is so strong, the information from the outside universe cannot get in easily. It gets stretched, it gets redshifted, it gets weak. The black hole protects the singularity from the noise, and your sleep protects you from the noise. There is a beautiful theory in neuroscience that says time perception is related to the amount of energy we spend processing information. The more energy you spend, the longer time feels. That's why a terrifying car accident feels like it lasts for 10 minutes, even if it was only 3 seconds. Your brain ramped up its frame rate to maximum survival speed. But tonight, we are doing the opposite. We are doing the anti-accident. We are turning the energy dial down to 0. We are making the moment feel short and light and slippery. You know that feeling when you close your eyes for just a second, and suddenly it is morning? You travelled 8 hours into the future in the blink of an eye. That is time travel. That is literal biological time travel. You skipped the boring part of the timeline. You fast-forwarded through the dark. How did you do that? You did it by entering the event horizon of sleep. You slowed your internal time down so much that the external time flashed by in an instant. So, as you lie here, appreciate the mechanism. Your brain is a time machine, and you're sitting at the controls right now. You're pulling the lever back. You're disengaging the gears. Feel the clutch of your mind releasing. Usually your mind is gripped tight to the engine of the world. The world spins, and your mind spins with it. Grind, grind, grind. But now, you have pressed the pedal. The clutch is open. The engine of the world is still revving. It is still spinning fast out there. But you are coasting. You are idling. You're no longer connected to the drive shaft of the day. This sensation of slowing down is actually the sensation of freedom. When time is fast, you're a slave to it. You're chasing it. You're trying to catch the bus. But when time is slow, you're the master of it. You're standing still and watching the bus drive away, and you don't care. You don't want to be on the bus. You want to be on the bench. This is the perspective of the black hole. The black hole does not chase anything. It sits in the center of the web and waits. It has infinite patience. If a star wants to fall in, fine. If a light beam wants to pass by, fine. The black hole is not in a rush. It has nowhere to be. It has already arrived at the end of the line. You have arrived at the end of your day. You have nowhere else to be. You have nothing else to achieve. Your only job is to exist, to occupy space, to have mass, to breathe, that is enough. Physics demands nothing else from you. The universe does not require you to be productive at 11 p.m. It requires you to recover. So let the frame rate drop. Let the shutter speed drag. Imagine your thoughts are like drops of honey falling from a spoon. Drip, drip, drip. Long golden pauses. Thick, slow movement. If a thought comes into your mind, did I lock the door? Let it move through the honey. Let it move so slowly that by the time it reaches the other side, you have forgotten it. It gets stuck in the amber of the moment. This is the viscosity of the present. We are increasing the thickness of time. In fluid dynamics, a thick fluid flows smoothly. It is called laminar flow. A thin fluid flows chaotically. It is called turbulent flow. Your day was turbulent. Your thoughts were splashing and crashing and foaming, but your night is laminar. It is smooth. It flows in parallel lines, quiet, predictable, heavy. So, if you feel like your mind is still racing, then just visualize the honey. Visualize the gravity. Visualize the black hole pulling on the hands of the clock. Grab the second hand and hold it. Don't let it tick. Hold it in place with the weight of your relaxation. Make the second last for an hour. Make the minute last for a year. You are stretching the canvas of reality. You are making room for yourself. Usually we feel squeezed by time, but down here, inside the dilation field, there is so much room. There is acres of time. There is fields of time. You can sprawl out. You can take up space. You are the slow observer in a fast universe, and that is the most powerful position to be in, because the one who watches is the one who understands, and the one who rests is the one who survives. So let the appearance of slowness take over. It is not an illusion. It is your biological right. You are syncing with the deep clock, the geological clock, the cosmic clock. Tick, tock, perfect, slow, rhythm. We've slowed down. We've decelerated. We have watched the seconds stretch into minutes and the minutes stretch into hours. But now we face the final question, the question that keeps philosophers awake and makes physicists dream. If we keep going deeper, if we keep adding gravity, if we keep sinking into the well, can time ever actually stop? Can the clock freeze completely? In our daily lives, the answer is no. Time is relentless. It pushes us forward. The sun rises, the sun sets, the heart beats, the cell divides. It feels like a conveyor belt that never turns off. But here, in the strange, dark mathematics of the black hole, the rules are different. Here, there is a theoretical limit. There is a bottom to the ocean. Physicists call this the null geodesic, or, more poetically, the end of the arrow. To understand this, we have to look at the universe through the eyes of the only thing that lives there. We have to look through the eyes of a photon, a single particle of light. We talked earlier about how light travels at a constant speed, but here is the secret that I saved for now. Here is the secret that will help you rest. Light does not experience time. If you were a photon, leaving the surface of a star and travelling across the galaxy for 1 billion years to hit the Earth, how long would that journey feel to you? 1 billion years? 1 million years? A second? No. To a photon, the journey takes 0 time, because light travels at the speed limit of the universe. Time dilation hits the maximum. Time slows down, all the way to a dead stop. From the photon's perspective, it is created at the star and absorbed by your eye in the exact same instant. It does not age. It does not wait. It does not get bored. It exists in an eternal now. Think about how beautiful that is. The universe is filled with these particles, these tiny sparks of energy that are completely immune to the ravages of time. They are immortal. They are frozen in a moment of perfect purity. And the black hole? The black hole is a machine that tries to bring you to that same state. As you fall toward the singularity, the gravity is trying to accelerate you to the speed of light. It is trying to turn you into a photon. It is trying to strip away your duration. It is trying to take the heavy burden of past and future off your shoulders and leave you with only the present. We often fear the idea of time stopping. We think of it as being trapped. We think of the pause button as a glitch. But imagine the relief of a true pause. Think about why you are tired right now. You're tired because of change. You're tired because things kept changing all day long, the lighting changed, the noise changed, the tasks changed, your emotions changed. Change requires energy. Change requires adaptation. But if time stops, change stops. If the clock freezes, the entropy freezes, the decay stops, the aging stops, the worry stops. In a timeless state, nothing can go wrong. Because going wrong is a process that requires time to happen. To make a mistake, you need a before and an after. But here, there is no after. There is just is. This is the ultimate safety. It is the safety of the diamond. A diamond is carbon that has been squeezed so hard and held so still that it becomes almost eternal. It resists change. It resists time. The singularity is the diamond at the center of the universe, and you are drifting toward it. Now. Does time literally stop for us? Biology is messy. We are not photons, but tonight we can get very, very close to the asymptote. An asymptote is a line on a graph that gets closer and closer to zero, but never quite touches it. It goes to 0.1, then 0.01, then 0.01, then 0.001. It gets infinitely quiet. It gets infinitely slow. Your sleep is an asymptote. Every breath you take is slower than the last one. Every thought you think is heavier than the last one. You're approaching the 0 point. You are Zeno's paradox, falling into a dream. You move halfway to sleep, then you move half of the remaining distance, then half again, and half again. You're sliding down the curve of silence, and somewhere, in the deep, deep troughs of your delta waves, you will touch the line, you will touch the void. There will be a moment tonight, a profound, secret moment, where you simply cease to be a person in time. You will enter the gap in the tape. Think about deep sleep, the dreamless kind. When you wake up from it, you have no idea how much time passed. Could have been 5 minutes, could have been 5 centuries. Why? Because for you, the observer, time did stop. The camera stopped recording. The tape stopped spinning. You stepped out of the flow. You took a vacation from existence. That gap is the most restorative place in the cosmos. That gap is where the healing happens. When the machine is running, you cannot fix it. You cannot change the oil in a car while it is driving down the highway. You have to pull over. You have to turn the engine off. You have to stop the pistons. Sleep is the mechanic, and the mechanic needs the engine to stop, so do not be afraid of the blankness. Do not be afraid of the nothing. The nothing is where the repair crew lives. The nothing is where your cells knit themselves back together. The nothing is where your memories get filed away. The nothing is where your energy gets refueled. It requires the stop. So, invite the stop. Invite the pause. Say to your mind, it is okay to shut down. It is okay to go offline. The universe will still be there when I get back. Imagine the hands of the clock on your wall. Imagine them getting heavier. They are made of lead. They are pushing through molasses. The second hand is ticking. Slower. Tick. 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 And finally, it just hangs there. It gives up gravity. It gives up the chase. The gear locks. The spring unwinds. The tension releases. The silence that follows is not empty. It is full. It is full of potential. It is full of peace. You are now floating in the static, the place between the stations, the white noise of the universe. There is no signal here, and that is a blessing. No signal means no instructions. No signal means no demands. You are suspended in amber, perfectly preserved, perfectly held. Let the concept of tomorrow fade away. Tomorrow is just a theory. Tomorrow requires time to exist. But if time has stopped, then there is no tomorrow. There is only this soft, dark, endless cushion of now. Stay here. Stay in the freeze frame. You are a photograph of a sleeper. Beautiful. Still. Timeless. Let the physics hold you in this pause. Let the 0 point embrace you. You have reached the bottom of the well. The water is still. The ripples have faded. The surface is like glass. Nothing moves. Nothing needs to move. Rest in the stop. We've spoken about your room. We've spoken about the earth. We've spoken about the black hole. But now, as we near the end of our journey, we must zoom out one last time. We must look at the whole picture. We have to ask, why is the universe built this way? Why does gravity exist? Why does time slow down? Why does everything, eventually, want to stop? The answer is profound, and it is the most comforting fact in all of physics. The answer is, the universe is trying to get some rest too. We often think of the cosmos as this vibrant, energetic, exploding place. We think of the Big Bang. We think of supernovas. We think of blazing suns. But that energy is temporary. That energy is just the morning rush. The true, long-term state of the universe is silence. The true goal of the universe is stillness. There is a law that governs everything. It is the second law of thermodynamics. It is the boss. It rules over the stars and it rules over your coffee cup. It says that energy always spreads out. It says that concentrated things tend to become diffused things. It says that order tends to melt into disorder. Scientists sometimes call this the heat death of the universe, but that is a scary name. I prefer to call it the Great Relaxation. Imagine a lake. When you throw a rock into a lake, it creates waves, it creates splashes, it creates chaos. That is the Big Bang. That is the start of the day. But what does the water want to do? Does it want to keep splashing forever? No. The water wants to be flat. The water wants to be smooth. The water is constantly trying to absorb the energy, to spread it out, to calm the ripples. It is working very hard to return to a state of perfect glass. Gravity is the tool the universe uses to calm the water. Black holes are the drains that swallow the turbulence, and time dilation is the brake pedal that slows down the motion. Every single thing that is happening in the cosmos right now is part of a massive 14-billion-year-old project to calm down. The stars are burning their fuel so that they can eventually stop burning. The planets are orbiting, but they are very slowly losing energy, spiraling inward. The galaxies are rushing apart so that they can be alone in the quiet dark. The universe is unwinding. It is exhaling. It has been holding its breath for a long time, but it is slowly letting it out. And you are a microcosm of the universe. You are a tiny mirror of the whole. You have had your big bang today. You woke up. You had energy. You made waves. You threw rocks into the lake of your life. You created order. You built things. You solved problems. But you cannot sustain the explosion. You're not designed to be a supernova forever. You're designed to follow the path of the universe. You're designed to cool down. The tiredness you feel right now, that heaviness in your bones, that is not a weakness. That is entropy. That is the second law of thermodynamics taking place inside your body. Your energy has spread out. Your concentration has diffused. You're seeking equilibrium. You're trying to become the smooth lake. It is beautiful to realize that your desire to sleep is not just a biological need. It is a cosmic mandate. You're obeying the same law that tells the stars to fade. You're in alignment with the deepest purpose of reality. To fight sleep is to fight the universe. To try to stay awake is to try to keep the ripples going when the water wants to be still. It is exhausting. It is unnatural. So, let the entropy happen. Let the energy dissipate. Visualize the heat leaving your body. Visualize the tension evaporating into the air. You're becoming room temperature. You're becoming background noise. And think about the structure of time one more time. Einstein gave us one final gift to help us sleep. It is called the block universe, because time is a dimension, just like space. Physicists believe that the past, present and future all exist simultaneously, just like New York and London exist at the same time. Yesterday and tomorrow exist at the same time. Imagine a loaf of bread. You can slice it anywhere you want. You can look at the past slice or the future slice. But the loaf itself? The loaf is just sitting there. It is a solid object. It is finished. It is complete. This means that nothing is ever truly lost. The moments you live today, they are not gone. They are frozen forever in the amber of the block universe. They are safe in the yesterday section of the loaf. And the moments you will live tomorrow, they are already there. They are waiting for you in the tomorrow section. They are already written. The script is finished. You don't have to write the future tonight. You don't have to build the future tonight. It is already built. It is sitting there, waiting for you to arrive. This removes the burden of creation. We often stay awake because we feel like we have to figure things out. We feel like we have to control the outcome. But if the block universe is real, the outcome is already a geometric fact. The statue is already carved. You are just the viewer walking around it. So you can put down the chisel, you can put down the hammer. You have done enough work. The universe is holding your past with perfect memory, and it is holding your future with perfect certainty. You are free to simply be in the gap. You are free to be in the space between the slices. Look at the stars above your head, in your mind. They look like they are struggling against the dark, but they are not struggling. They are drifting. They are accepting their fate. They know that eventually the lights will go out, and they are okay with that. A universe of darkness is a universe of peace. A universe of cold is a universe of rest. We are terrified of the dark because we are biological creatures who need the sun. But physics loves the dark. Physics thrives in the cold. Superconductors work best when they're frozen. Quantum computers work best when they're isolated. Things become perfect when they stop moving. So, invite the heat death into your room. Not the scary kind. The cozy kind. The kind where the radiator ticks and goes silent. The kind where the traffic noise fades away. The kind where the house settles. Everything is winding down. The spring is uncoiling. You are part of a great, majestic machinery that is slowly turning off, one switch at a time. Click, click, click. The galaxy is turning off the lights. The black holes are tucking everything in. You're not alone in your fatigue. The sun is tired. The earth is tired. The atoms are tired. We're all just looking for a place to lay down our mass. We're all just looking for a gravity well to catch us. And you have found yours. You have found your bed. You have found your quiet corner of the block. Universe. It is a good place. It is a safe place. It is a stable coordinate in the space-time manifold. You can stay here as long as you need. The universe is in no rush to restart. It has billions of years to go. So take your time. Take all of it. You are simply doing what the cosmos is doing. You are fading. You are smoothing. You are resting. And it is universally good. And now we turn the ship around. We have seen the edge of physics. We have floated in the empty void. We have felt the heavy, velvet embrace of the black hole. And we have touched the 0 point of time. But now, it is time to come home. We're not coming home to noise. We're not coming home to work. We're bringing the silence back with us. Imagine that you are a vessel that has been filled with the deep, dark water of the cosmos. You are heavy with it. You are stable with it. You push off gently from the event horizon. You drift upwards, out of the gravity well. But you do not speed up. You keep the slow pace. You keep the time dilation active in your mind. You glide past a swirling accretion disk. But the light does not hurt your eyes. It is soft. It is distant. Like a nightlight glowing in the hall, you drift back through the star fields. The stars are no longer spinning fast. They have slowed down to match your rhythm. They are pulsing gently. Blink, blink, blink. They are watching you return. They are the streetlights on the long road home. You pass the gas giants, Jupiter, Saturn. They are silent sentinels, huge spheres of gas, spinning endlessly in the dark. They nod to you as you pass. They understand the gravity. And then you see it, the blue marble. It is floating there in the emptiness, but it is not bright and busy like it is in the daytime pictures. It is the night side of Earth. It is a dark, navy blue sphere, dotted with the soft golden spiderwebs of cities sleeping. It looks peaceful from up here. It looks fragile. It looks quiet. You begin your descent. You drift down through the atmosphere. But there is no fire. There is no friction. You are a ghost particle. You slip through the clouds like a whisper. You float down toward your continent, toward your city, toward your neighborhood, toward your building, and finally, you float through the ceiling of your room, and you settle gently back into your body. Take a moment to feel the re-entry. Feel the mattress beneath you. It feels different now, doesn't it? Before we left, it was just a bed. But now, you know what it really is. It is a gravity anchor. It is a platform on the surface of a planet, spinning in deep space. You're not just lying in a room. You're lying on a spaceship that is cruising through the galaxy, and you are safe in the crew quarters. Let's do a final check of the systems. Let's make sure every part of you has accepted the heavy gravity of the night. Bring your attention to your feet. Feel the gravity pulling on your heels. The bones in your feet are heavy. They've travelled a long way today, but now they are motionless. They are turning to stone. Let them sink into the mattress. Let them lock into place. They are the anchors of the ship. Move your attention to your legs, your calves, your knees, your thighs. These are the engines of your movement. They carried you through the timeline of the day. But the engines are off now. The pistons are cool. Feel the muscles lengthening. Feel them spreading out. They're melting into the sheets. There is no tension left. Only weight. Move your attention to your hands. Your fingers are usually so busy, clicking, typing, holding. But look at them now. They are curled softly. They are empty. They are holding nothing but the air. Let go of the day. Let go of the control. Your hands are heavy gloves resting on the bed. They have done enough. Move your attention to your chest. Feel the rhythm of the breathing. In, out. It is a slow wave. It is the tide of the universe. You don't have to force it. The moon pulls the ocean, and the galaxy pulls your breath. Just ride the wave. Let it lift you up and set you down. Lift you up and set you down. And finally, move your attention to your head. Your skull is heavy on the pillow. Let the neck muscles release. They don't need to hold it up anymore. Gravity has it. The pillow has it. And inside the skull, the brain, the time machine itself, it is slowing down. The lights in the control room are dimming. The monitors are flickering off. One by one, the thoughts are becoming distant. They are like satellites drifting out of range. Did I send that email? Signal lost. What about tomorrow? Signal lost. I need to... Signal lost. There is no signal. There's only the static of the stars. You are now fully integrated with the night. You are moving at the speed of the Earth, 17,000 miles per hour, yet perfectly still. You are a paradox, a traveller in stasis. The concept of time has dissolved. The clock on the wall has melted. The calendar has evaporated. There is only this sensation, the sensation of deep hold. You are held by the sheets, held by the bed, held by the floor, held by the foundation, held by the crust, held by the mantle, held by the core, held by the gravity, held by the fabric of space-time. You are wrapped in layer upon layer of cosmic protection. Nothing can get to you here. You're buried deep in the structure of reality, and it is quiet down here. So quiet. Listen to the silence one last time. It is not empty silence. It is the hum of existence. It is the sound of the universe working perfectly. So you don't have to. You can trust it. You can trust the physics. Gravity has never failed. Not once. Not in 13 billion years. It'll not drop you. So give it everything. Give it your last ounce of resistance. Give it your last ounce of wakefulness. Hand it over. Let it pull you down. Down past the alpha waves. Down past the theta waves. Into the delta. Into the deep, dark, slow ocean of the delta. You are ready. The ship is secure. The course is set. The pilot is sleeping. We will drift here together, in the orbit of the night, for hours and hours and hours. And when you wake up, you will have travelled. You will have arrived. But for now, there is no arrival. There is only the drift. Good night, traveller. Good night, observer. Good night, star stuff. Enough thinking. Enough time. Rest.